My life changed forever on what should have been the happiest day of my life. There I stood at the altar, watching helplessly as my bride Selena ran into another man's arms and vanished, leaving me alone with hundreds of shocked guests staring at me. The pain of that moment stayed with me for years. Then one day, she reappeared as if from nowhere. Now a star dancer in a famous ballet company, always with him by her side. She took every chance to remind me of what I'd lost. "Look at me now, Marcus," she would say with a smirk. "I've reached heights you could never dream of." I never argued back. Instead, I found comfort elsewhere. I began dating Nora, the granddaughter of the world's wealthiest businessman and a celebrated dance teacher in her own right. When Selena saw us together, she completely lost her composure. "You traitor!" she screamed. "Let him go, Marcus. He still belongs to me." The day Nora and I got engaged should have been perfect. Nora was upstairs getting ready while I greeted our guests. Then Selena showed up with Derek, the same man she'd run away with at our wedding. I was heading over to welcome some old college friends when I heard her voice. "Look at this sad little man," she sneered. "Selena's just a simple country girl, and you came running the second you heard about her." My smile faded instantly. "Selena, when did you get back?" I asked, turning toward her. She was nothing like the simple girl I once knew. Now she stood before me completely transformed. Flawless makeup, designer clothes, and an expression that suggested she owned the room. "Lee, our famous campus heartthrob," she said with a fake smile, clinging to Derek's arm. "How have you been all this time? Not well, I'm guessing. Why else would you rush over as soon as you heard I was back? Too bad for you. I'm perfectly happy with Derek now. You missed your chance." Derek pulled her closer, looking smug. "You should thank our campus star here," he said to me. "If you hadn't pushed me to marry Selena back then, I might never have realized how much I love her. I really owe you one." There was a time when Selena's betrayal left me with complicated feelings. But now, looking at them both, I felt nothing at all. I simply nodded politely and smiled. This was my engagement day with Nora, and I wouldn't waste another second on the past. What happens next will shock you. Will Marcus finally stand up to Selena after years of pain? And what is the dark secret Nora is hiding about her relationship with Marcus? Just when you think you understand this love triangle, everything changes. Who is truly the victim here? Is Selena really the villain we think she is, or does Nora have her own plans we haven't seen yet? Did you notice the clues about their past life together? That's right. There's a whole other timeline to this story that explains why these characters are so obsessed with each other. If you're enjoying this twisted tale of love, revenge, and rebirth, please hit that like button right now. Subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Share this video with a friend who loves drama and unexpected twists. They'll thank you later. Leave a comment below telling us who you're rooting for. Team Marcus, Team Selena, or Team Nora. And stick around until the end. The final revelation about who really belongs with who will leave you speechless. Don't miss the rest of this incredible story. Keep watching now to discover what happens when Selena confronts Nora about their shared past. They didn't back down when I stayed calm. Instead, it seemed to make them angrier. "Why are you acting so high and mighty?" Derek's face darkened at my cool response. One of his friends stepped forward and grabbed my arm roughly. "Marcus, are you deaf? We're talking to you." I couldn't move as they held onto my sleeve. I fought to keep my anger in check as I glared at them. "This is a celebration," I said firmly. "I don't want to cause a scene. If you're here as guests, you're welcome. But if you're here to make trouble, please leave now." My strong tone caught them off guard. When they realized I wasn't intimidated, their faces turned red with anger. "Who do you think you are, sneaking in here and acting like you own the place?" one of them snapped. "What's the Chung family anyway? You don't belong at an event like this." I checked my watch and saw that the engagement ceremony was about to start. I didn't have time for this nonsense. Let go of me, I said quietly. Oh, are you getting angry now? Selina stepped forward with Derek's arms still around her. Her smile was cruel. Marcus, I don't mean to be harsh, but I left you for Derek because I couldn't stand how weak and cowardly you are. I know you think you loved me deeply, but you simply weren't good enough. She kept jabbing my chest with her bright red fingernails, wiping her hand on her dress afterward as if touching me had made her dirty. I just felt confused by her behavior. Selina, you abandoned me at our wedding to run off with another man, I pointed out. Now you're bragging about it like it's something to be proud of. Have you no shame at all? Her smile disappeared instantly. Derek stepped in front of her protectively, but before he could speak, I turned to him. And you? A man who happily steals someone else's fiancée. Aren't you embarrassed? Yet here you are, parading around without any shame. Both Selina and Derek went pale at my words. I didn't want to make things worse, but they wouldn't stop. They were even delaying my engagement ceremony with Nora. With no other option, I decided to end this quickly. Let me go now, and I'll forget this ever happened, I began. But before I could finish, someone threw a glass of dark red wine over my head. Marcus, you are the shameless one, Selina hissed. Derek and I have true love. Don't you dare speak badly about us! Selina snatched a glass of red wine from a nearby table and dumped it all over me in her rage. The red liquid stung my eyes, blurring my vision. I'm not finished with you yet, she spat. When Mr. Chung arrives, I'll make sure he deals with you properly, you fake. Through the sticky mess covering my face, I looked at Selina's angry expression and felt a wave of sadness. In our previous life, we had been married for 20 years, and now she treated me like garbage. She knew perfectly well that I was allergic to red wine. Nora had made sure none would be served at our engagement party, but somehow, here it was. Selina and I had fallen in love during college, and in our past life, we got married right after graduation. After our wedding, she was never happy with my modest career goals. Once our daughter was born, she even talked about divorce. Her complaint was simple. Her old boyfriend Derek had become rich and powerful, while I remained an ordinary worker. Marcus, choosing you over Derek was the biggest mistake I ever made, she would say. During those years, Selina and I fought almost every day. She couldn't stop thinking about Derek. Whenever she looked at our daughter, her face would twist with disgust. You're just like your father. You'll both end up failures, she would say, making our little girl cry in fear. Eventually, my in-laws tried to step in and help, but in the middle of a heated argument, Selina pushed her own parents down the stairs. One died, and the other was badly hurt. To escape punishment, she quickly booked a flight to run away to Derek. But on her way to the airport, she had a car accident that stopped her escape. Then somehow, we were all reborn. We found ourselves back at our wedding day. In this new life, I was an orphan with no family, and all I could think about after being reborn was our daughter. What would happen to her? Before I could make sense of everything, Selina, also reborn, grabbed the microphone and gave an angry speech. Then, like she was in some romantic movie, she ran into Derek's arms, leaving me alone to face everyone's accusing stares and mockery. My chest felt heavy, and soon I could barely breathe. Hey, what's going on? Someone called out. Are you pretending to be sick now? Do you really think acting ill will let you stay here? I'll show everyone what kind of person you really are, another person threatened. Then Derek let go of Selina's hand and stormed into the hall, shouting, Everyone come look! A pathetic nobody is trying to crash the Chung family's party. Who knows what he's really doing here? Someone shouted. Ha! Our handsome Marcus isn't bad looking. Of course he came to catch a rich girl from high society. Why work hard for 20 years when you can just show up and marry money? Their cruel laughter attracted more people to watch my humiliation. I struggled to breathe but was desperate to get away. Today was supposed to be my special day with Nora. She had waited 8 long years for this engagement, and I couldn't let these troublemakers ruin it. "Where do you think you're going?" Someone grabbed me. "Isn't he that popular guy from campus? Let everyone see if any wealthy young lady would actually want him. He must have gone to great lengths just to sneak in here." People pushed me around until I nearly fell. The crowd grew, with strangers asking, "Who is this? What's happening?" Others whispered, "How did someone like him get into such an important event?" A few people squinted at me, saying, "He looks familiar." People were trying to get a better look at my face while I tried to hide. I wanted Nora's engagement celebration to be perfect for her, not ruined by this embarrassing scene. I didn't want anyone thinking the Chung family's daughter was marrying someone worthless. My mind was getting foggy with regret. I cursed myself for deciding to greet these people. These awful individuals didn't deserve a moment of my time. "Why are you hiding? What's wrong?" one of them taunted. "Are you so grateful for this fancy wine, you poor thing?" "You don't owe us anything," another laughed. "After all, without us, you'd never experience such high-class drinks in your entire life." Derek stepped forward again, casually kicking me as he said, "Now that you've had the wine and completely embarrassed yourself, you should leave before the ceremony starts and ruins the Chung family's big day." Selena then stood elegantly in front of me, looking down as if I were nothing but a bug beneath her shoe. "Fortunately," she began. What did she mean by fortunately? Was she glad she ran away from our wedding? Or was she celebrating this second chance at life? I wanted to answer back, but I was getting weaker by the second. "Where is Mr. Lee? I can't find him. The ceremony is about to begin." Just when I thought I couldn't take any more, I heard a worried servant calling out, "Sir, have you seen Marcus?" Nora's concerned voice followed. "Why are there so many people gathered here? What's happening?" The sound of high heels clicking on the floor grew closer, and through the crowd, I finally saw Nora's worried face pushing through. "Marcus, what happened to you?" Nora rushed to my side and fell into my arms, her beautiful eyes filled with worry. "Honey, what's wrong? You're scaring me," she pleaded. Her words made both Derek and Selena turn pale. Selena stiffened and stepped forward. "Young Mr. Chung, you must be confused. How could he possibly be your—" Before she could finish, Nora cut her off with a sharp glare. "I know who you are, Selena. Don't I?" Selena's face lit up with fake happiness, but before she could respond, Nora's cold voice continued. "I remember that the Chung family never sent you an invitation. How did you even get in here?" Selena tried to explain, but Nora interrupted again. "We'll talk about that later, but let me make something very clear. If anything happens to my husband today, none of you will walk away from this, especially you, Derek, and Selena." Some of the gossiping guests tried to step in, but they were quickly stopped by security guards. "Miss, the doctor has arrived," someone announced. The servants carried me to a nearby room. "Doctor, how is my husband?" Nora's tough facade crumbled as her eyes grew red and her body shook. "Miss Chung, don't worry. Mr. Lee just had an allergic reaction. His condition is under control now. If you had arrived any later, or if Miss Chung hadn't acted quickly, it could have been much worse." As the doctor treated me, I slowly woke up. Nora, with her nose red and voice trembling, fell into my arms. "Oh, honey, what happened? You almost gave me a heart attack." She held me tight, and my heart melted completely. "Don't worry. I'm okay." I sat up and hugged Nora. "Darling, what happened? You were just supposed to welcome our guests. How did it turn into this mess?" I laughed bitterly as I told her what happened. "They went too far. I'll make them pay for this." Angry, Nora clenched her fists and almost stormed out, but I held her back. "Nora, don't be upset. We can't confront them directly. What if someone accuses us of using our power to bully them?" Nora's face turned red with anger. "They were the ones bullying you. They ruined our engagement celebration. I won't let them get away with it." As I tried to calm her down, a dark look flashed in my eyes. The most important thing right now is to find out where that bottle of red wine came from. Wasn't red wine banned from this party? I put my arm around Nora as we went back to where everything happened. When we appeared, Derek and Selena both looked relieved. "See? I told you there's nothing to worry about. He's fine now," Derek said, his face relaxing as he took Selena's hand. Then he raised his chin proudly. "Marcus, since you're okay, why not just let everyone go about their business?" I sat next to Nora and answered calmly, "Let them stay. No need to rush. But the important question is where that bottle of red wine came from. It was forbidden at this event. How did it get here?" I paused meaningfully. Besides, the only person who knew about my red wine allergy was Selena. I don't think this was an accident. It looks more like someone tried to hurt me. I smiled slightly as I looked at everyone in the room. Hearing my words, Selena's face turned angry red, and she started yelling. "Marcus, are you crazy? Do you think you're so important that someone would try to murder you? With your meaningless life, you wouldn't be worth the effort. Stop thinking so highly of yourself. What nonsense are you talking about?" Nora couldn't stay quiet anymore. She stood up and shouted, "Who gave you the right to talk about my husband that way, Selena? Don't you have any manners at all?" Selena immediately shut up, her earlier confidence completely gone. "Miss Chung, this bottle of red wine was already here when we arrived. We don't know what happened," one of the servants explained nervously. "Miss, it really wasn't our fault." "Yes, miss," another added. "Even though we didn't understand why red wine wasn't allowed, we followed all the instructions carefully." As the tense situation continued, I calmly looked around at everyone. This mansion has security cameras everywhere. To be fair, let's look at the security footage. That will show us the truth. When I said this, my old classmates looked terrified. "No, there's no need. It's not important," Selena and Derek both said, starting to sweat. "Not important?" Nora snapped. "My husband almost died because of this and you call it unimportant?" "I'm just saying that even if the Chung family allowed red wine at this event, we wouldn't serve such poor quality wine here," I explained. "Now that the truth is obvious, you're clearly to blame. Checking the cameras will just make everything clear." Looking nervous, the group followed me to the security room. Throughout the playback, Selena tried to speak several times, but Derek kept silencing her. The screen showed footage of them whispering near the entrance to the mansion. "Brother Derek, can we really serve red wine at a fancy event like this?" Selena asked nervously. "What's the problem?" "We're not serving red wine to impress these rich people," Derek replied. "We'll just put it in front of those country folks who don't know any better. They'll fall for it easily. But isn't it a waste to let these nobodies drink such expensive wine?" The crystal-clear 4K footage caught every detail of Selena's worried expression. "Are you being stupid? I already switched out the real wine," Derek smirked. "This is just cheap stuff I bought in bulk for $3. Think about it. $3, and everyone will be praising us. Isn't that a much better deal?" Seeing that Selena still looked uncertain, Derek gritted his teeth and added, "Besides, all our old classmates are here. I wasn't sure if Marcus would even show up. If he does, don't you want him to see how much better you're doing than him?" At that, Selena's hesitation disappeared completely. The events playing on the screen matched exactly what had just happened in the hall. As Nora watched, her face grew darker with anger. The room fell completely silent with tension. Only Derek, now shaking, reached out to grab my sleeve. "Marcus, please be kind. Just let us go this time," he begged. "And it wasn't really dangerous, was it?" I turned to look at Selena, whose guilty eyes avoided mine. I gave a small, mocking laugh. "Is that so? The doctor said my reaction wasn't worse because the wine was so watered down, it didn't trigger the severe allergy that real red wine would have." At that moment, everyone remembered Derek's earlier boasting. "Weren't you saying this was imported fine wine?" the kind money can't buy. Derek, what on earth are you saying? Selena shouted furiously, throwing her handbag at him, but he just pushed her aside. I worked hard to get you that bag and that dress. Do you think I did all that for you to ruin everything? He snapped. Do you know if they get damaged, we can't return them? That would cost triple compensation, you idiot. Derek scrambled to catch the expensive handbag, even blowing on it as if that could somehow fix any damage. Their ridiculous behavior shocked everyone in the room. Maybe it was our disgusted stares that finally hurt Selena's pride. She fell to the floor, her face twisted with anger as she glared at me. Marcus, what is there to be proud of? She screamed. At least I earned my place through hard work. And you? You climbed to the top by leaning on a woman. You're nothing but a kept man. As soon as those words left her mouth, the atmosphere in the security room turned ice cold. Even Nora looked at me with worried eyes. Marcus, please, don't listen to them, she pleaded. Everyone held their breath, afraid I might lose my temper, but I only smiled calmly. I had planned to announce this at tonight's banquet, but I might as well say it now. Gently, I patted Nora's back to reassure her. To be worthy of Nora and to match her status, I watched from a distance, quietly celebrating their happiness while nursing my own heartache. When I heard they were getting married, I cried alone in my room thinking, this is how it should be. After attending their wedding, I promised myself I would finally let go of my feelings for him. But then something unexpected happened. Selena ran away during the ceremony. When I heard the news, my heart soared with hope. But that excitement quickly turned to sadness when I saw Marcus standing alone at the altar, abandoned and humiliated. So I did something completely out of character for me. I found him, shaking with nerves and excitement, and opened my heart to him. It's okay that your bride left. I can be your bride instead. I'll finish the ceremony with you. I had secretly arranged for a wedding dress to be ready nearby. If he said yes, I could have slipped into it and married him right then. But he turned me down. I should have been crushed, but strangely, I felt relieved. He said he didn't want me to feel like a second choice. Not long after that, we actually started dating. Together, we walked a difficult path, facing criticism from everyone around us until we finally reached our engagement day. Just before the engagement, I discovered that Selena had returned to the country. I did everything possible to keep this information from Marcus, but to my shock, she showed up at our engagement party and confronted him directly. When I saw Marcus collapse, I thought my heart would stop beating. In that moment, I didn't care who he might have loved before. I just wanted him to be safe. Thankfully, it wasn't serious. Our engagement ceremony continued as planned, and I got what I wanted, though I still felt uneasy. Then one day, Selena tracked me down and explained her connection to Marcus. She claimed they shared a bond across lifetimes and even had a daughter together. She insisted that Marcus still loved her. My heart broke hearing those words. But what did it matter? Marcus was mine now. He loved me. I calmly poured hot coffee onto Selena's face, giving her a taste of what she once did to Marcus. As I walked away, I heard her scream, "Nora, you bitch! Marcus is my husband!" I could only laugh to myself. Your husband? Are you really sure about that?